Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the 4K Lowdown Presents by the Numbers. This is episode 8, where we talk about newer releases, spoiler-free reviews, watch the turds if we need to keep you from having to do it. My name is David. I'm your host, and my co-host is
Twitter fan 77, aka Rich. How you doing,
Rick.
man?
We're matching today, bro.
Yeah, we are. I noticed that earlier.
Yeah. We didn't plan that, but that's
No, we
awesome.
did not.
But yeah, man, no, I'm feeling like I chased a fart through a knothole, but other than that, I am here. We're doing the show because, you know,
The
I
show
love
must go
talking
on.
about movies. So, um, so how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing actually
Good.
pretty good.
All
Glad
right. Well,
you're still able to do the show.
yep.
Glad we could still get an episode out this week, even though we new night.
Yeah. New night, and we may switch this a little more permanently because something's happening with Spiritual Spirits, and it's going to be moving to Sundays in mid-March. So, you know, might
I
be
like the
might be
Wednesday time slot.
I think Wednesday kind of works, and we
Yeah.
can go an hour earlier. We don't have to worry about crossing our
Mm-hmm.
buddies over at Geeks and Flicks.
Yeah.
And
That's one of the big things too. And I
that's one
won't
of
be
the
so
big things
tired.
too. I want to be able to watch theirs
Mm-hmm.
and then still
Yeah.
be able to do ours at a decent time. So yeah, but we've already got a couple of guys on. We got Harrison that jumped on.
Oh, thanks.
What's up,
What's going on,
Harrison? Thank you
Harrison?
so much for joining in. Spicy 4K Action is in the house.
Um,
What's up, my friend? And Tony, our buddy over at Basement Blues, is in.
how you
Tony,
doing,
thank you
Tony?
so much for joining in. So we've got an interesting group of movies today. And then,
Yeah,
we
we do.
got the Huckster is in the
What's
house.
up, Huck?
What's up,
How you
Huckster?
doing?
Yeah, we've got an interesting group of movies. And yeah, I changed the thumbnail. Hope you guys saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I changed the intro. I don't know what you guys think about the intro, but definitely leave us a note in the comments and let me know what you think of that. Because I figured, hey, let's start experimenting. So I'm messing around with some settings and some things and my software and seeing how it looks. So if you guys like it, don't like it, I'd like to hear about it. So let us know.
Speaking of experimenting, if I want
Already
to
got a like from Tony.
experiment with a new movie podcast, where should I go?
You know what? I was going to ask you about that. Have you heard about Anchor?
I have not. Tell me about it.
Anchor is an amazing podcast service that actually sponsors you. They take the audio portion of like the live stream that we have now, and they put it on podcast services like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, all that kind of stuff. And right now, the 4K Lowdown is on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So a lot of fun, and Anchor
Mm-hmm.
sponsors you and gets you more sponsors as you get more of a listening audience. So you guys, if you have a chance, check out Anchor if you have a podcast or a live stream that you guys run, and they'll set you guys up for free.
Yeah.
And then also while you're there, go over to Spotify, hit follow on the 4K Lowdown, and give us a listen. The more plays we get, the more popular we get, the more sponsors we get, and we would gladly return
for
the
our
favor.
show. I listen to our show, so
Me too.
go listen to it. It's a great. It's an hour, a little over an hour, right? I forget how long we go.
We go hour and a half. We try to cut it down as much as we can, but sometimes we get to talking, but that's fun.
It's great for a car ride if you're going to work, commuting. So just give it a listen, guys, and subscribe too.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely hit that like button for us. Subscribe to both of our channels, it's in the comments. You can subscribe to Turner Fan either here or on Instagram.
Preferably both.
Yeah, preferably both. So we got Tony likes the intro.
Thanks,
Thank you so much, Tony. Huck even says the intro is fun. The dancing letters are quite amusing. Thank you so much. Something for me to listen to on my drive to work. Yes, please. Yes. I unfortunately telecommute, so I work from home, but I still listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Here at my desk while I'm doing stuff with
to it on the way to work.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really appreciate that, bro. And it's actually might be even better. You don't have to look at our faces. You can just listen to our voices
because we got faces for radio.
Um,
Yeah,
but all right, that's cool. I really appreciate the positive feedback, you guys. So, but let's get rolling. So we picked out 5 movies,
we
and
did.
we we don't know how these movies are going to be as a general rule. We just like here are the 5 that we want to look at, review. Sometimes we get some bangers, sometimes we get some clunkers.
Hurts.
It hurt some, yeah, some of them hurt. Um, I gotta say I had one that kind of hurt this
Me
time.
too.
Um, but so this week, and hopefully you saw that in the thumbnail, we're gonna look at Babylon. We're gonna look at Emancipation on Apple TV Plus, starring Will Smith. Of course, Babylon, going back, is starring just about everybody and their dog.
Right?
It's got the biggest cast. I'm sitting there going, is that Eric Roberts? Eric Roberts is in this movie.
Hmm.
Um, and then there's something wrong with the children, which I have a title change I want to make to that one. Viking Wolf,
Hmm.
which is on Netflix right now, and it's kind of a Norwegian, Scandinavian type werewolf movie. And then Lou, which is also on Netflix, and this is Allison Janney as
Hmm.
like a former CIA person that kind of helps a woman in a sleeping with the enemy type of deal. So I don't know. What'd you think about our group this week as a whole?
I enjoyed 4 out of the 5.
Yeah.
Um, One, I was like, what the hell?
Uh,
I
I was
mean,
like, and
yeah.
and and even the fifth one, there were parts that I liked, but I don't know. Um, it just yeah.
Are we talking
Um,
about the same movie?
I think we're probably talking about the same movie. So Spicy's only seen Babylon out of those 5 movies.
What'd you think of it, bud?
What'd you think of Babylon there, Spicy? There was um so so with Babylon, I don't know if you want to start with that one, but with
Just start
Babylon,
with it. We're talking about it.
let's start with Babylon. So let's bring up Babylon and let's talk about it. Because um Babylon, or as I want to call it, I want to change the title of this one too. I'm going to call it The Pornographic Fablemans.
Yes.
And um there was a lot of debauchery in this. I'm just gonna say, and
Okay. What'd you think of the poo scene? I thought you would love that poo scene.
okay. So here's the thing. This was not the poo scene that I thought you were gonna give me. Um, so yeah. Spicy says liked it a lot, really long, but the soundtrack is fantastic. I absolutely agree. That is my favorite part of this movie is the music here.
Yeah, it was a great soundtrack.
Great soundtrack. And I think it's nominated for original score or sound
Something like that.
editing or something like that. And I absolutely deserving of it.
I
But
really liked this movie.
yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a little too long.
I
I
agree.
gotta say, I really need to, and Tony needs to watch Babylon. I do recommend you watch this, but
Watch it in chunks.
it's yeah, it's one of those where you can pause and walk away for a little bit, make
Take
a
a shower.
sandwich, take a nap, come back the next day and finish the movie because it's over 3 hours. It's three
Yeah.
hours and 8 minutes. And
And it
but
feels like
like I
3 hours.
said, It's it's got the cast of a lifetime in this. I mean, you're just looking at a few of them on the
Mhm.
poster there. But I mean, there's cameos, there's, you know, even going down to Tobey Maguire, and like I said, Eric Roberts is in it. You
Mhm.
got, but it's mainly focused on Margot Robbie's character and um Calva. I can't remember his first name.
Just when I think I'm over Margot Robbie,
She
dude,
pulls something like this, and you're like,
yes,
"Okay."
man. I'm just gonna say it. There's that scene where she does her first scene in the movie when she's
Mhm.
standing on that bar. Oh my gosh, I was like, oh man, this lady is awesome. Not only is she beautiful, but she can act.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, Harrison actually refuses to watch Babylon. He's boycotting it. Seems to be an insult to old Hollywood, but I am also a bit of a prude, so I'm not a fan of this kind of film anyway. You know what? Um, I see your point, Harrison.
Hmm.
there's some stuff in here that's tough for me to watch.
I think the first half hour, most of it's that debauchery is in that first half hour. I
Yeah,
think they could cut that whole half hour out, and it would not take anything away from the movie. I think.
yeah. I I agree with that. I think, like I said, this is, you know, I think this was about a half hour, 45 minutes too long for me.
Mhm.
And they could have cut it down to maybe 2:15 and I would have been just as happy with it because they carried out scenes a little bit too long.
Yep,
And like, yeah, the whole thing in the beginning, it was like the Great Gatsby
it was.
was a Boy Scout troop meeting compared to this. And I was like, do I need all this? No. Do,
Mhm.
do we need to, basically start the party and give the whole thing with Margot Robbie to kind of get the character development going? Sure. But that's all you needed. Uh,
Introduced that one kid or that one dude, and
yeah, you
Margot
got to get,
Robbie. And that.
because he's going to be one of the main guys in there too. And then of course there's Brad Pitt, who's like, the King Dingaling guy
Mhm.
in the movie. And, you know, but I dug it. I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, I did too.
But yeah, I think if I were to watch this again, I'd probably skip that whole beginning scene.
Yeah.
That whole first part. I just skip over that altogether and just watch the story behind it
Hmm.
because that was pretty cool. And it's kind of all about how how Hollywood transitioned from silent films to talkies. And then what happened to the stars? I mean, really, a rags to riches to rags thing going on with a
Yeah,
lot of these guys in the movie. Um, and it's just, there was some really funny parts, and
it was
I did enjoy the poo scene. Like I said, it was not what I expected. It was definitely a lot more poo than I expected.
a lot.
Um, but when I started watching it and you told me like, "Oh, poo scene in the beginning, you're gonna love it," and I was like, as soon as I saw what was going on, I was like, "Oh, shit," and,
Literally.
pun intended. Um, and then, oh my god, it was like, "Oh," but it was funny, and there were parts in the movie that were funny. There were parts that made me kinda wanna turn away from the TV.
Hmm.
Because they went a little bit too far, and, like, the whole thing with Tobey Maguire and stuff, I didn't think that needed to be in there either.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, ridiculous. Yeah, the elephant scene.
Yeah.
Um, you know, we were trying not to talk about the elephant in the room, but there's an elephant in the room. But
Yeah.
yeah, so you got this party scene, and there's all this stuff going on, and I gotta tell you, the music in this is amazing.
Yeah.
It's
And I'm
just
picky about soundtrack when we
me
score
too.
movies, and this one did really really well.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So
Mhm.
so so this movie had a budget of 110 million and only made 61.8 million in the box office.
It has to do with the length. It
Yeah.
has to be a big factor.
I think that has everything to do with it. I think the
Yeah.
length of the movie um is a big factor in like,
Hmm.
oh crap, it doesn't say Marvel on it. I'm not going to sit for 3 hours
Yeah.
and watch this movie. And I agree to a point. I think this would have been fun in the theater. I think just with the whole cinematography and the spectacle of
Hmm.
it, I think it would have been worth it to see in the theater, but I'm kinda glad I didn't
Me too.
because of the length.
Yeah. I almost
But
saw it and I was like, nah.
yeah,
I don't even know who directed it.
let's see.
And Brad Pitt was good in this too.
I liked Brad Pitt's character in this.
Me too.
Um, it was really interesting and, just kinda watching his story, even though he wasn't technically one of the main guys.
Which kind of surprised me, with his
Yeah, I thought
name.
the movie was going to be about him,
I did too.
and Margot Robbie.
What are you drinking tonight, man?
What am I drinking tonight? Well, actually, I haven't opened it yet, but I'm about to. Diego Calva is the main guy. That's who I was trying to find his first name.
The assistant?
Yeah, the assistant. So I am drinking Arizona black and white tea.
Oh, nice.
It is really my favorite out of the Arizona teas. And I have trouble finding it over here in California. So,
Oh, yeah. You order it on Amazon or anything?
no, actually, well, I went to ordering stuff on Amazon, especially like beverages and stuff, is expensive.
Oh, is it? I've never
Yeah.
done it, so I was just curious.
Oh man, it's like crazy. So yeah, Damien Chazelle directed this. And yeah, he did La La Land, Whiplash, First Man, and 10 Cloverfield Lane were some of his.
Oh wow, I didn't know he did 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
I just recently watched that.
I'm sorry, I was probably writing. Let me double check. Yeah, he directed First Man, La La Land, and Whiplash. So he's done some pretty good work.
Yeah.
So yeah, good call there, Harrison.
I really like Whiplash. I've still yet to see La La Land.
I'm okay without that one.
Wait till we get to L's, buddy.
Or W's. You're gonna punish me with either one of those letters. But that's okay. So looking at our scores for Babylon, of course, we were both at a 10 for the cast. That cast deserves a 20. For your 10s were with the cast, acting, ending, story, and cinematography.
Yeah.
My 10s were with the cast, the cinematography, and the music.
Yeah.
But I think all in all, really, really good stuff. This I enjoyed it. Like I said, because of the length, I don't know if I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
If I do, yeah, I would skip some stuff.
I think I want this in my collection.
Yeah,
but
I do.
I'm not gonna pay, $30 4K.
Yeah.
For that. Absolutely.
No, I'll wait till it goes down to like 18 bucks. But I will get the 4K because if I can get that music in.
He really wants the poo scene in 4K. That's what he's trying.
Oh, that's what I want.
He wants.
I want that steaming pile on my 65-inch screen. I can't wait for that. I might pay full price for that. But no. So IMDb gave this movie a 7.3. But Rotten Tomatoes actually shit on it. They gave it a, no pun intended, they gave it a 56% critic score and a 52% audience score.
Oh, wow.
So I was actually like, that's kind of odd. Now, as far as our scores go, you actually gave it a 92.
I liked it.
Yeah. And I gave it an 87. So our total average score for Babylon is an 89.5.
And I think that's a great score.
It is. That's a really good score. So I'm gonna throw one other point out. Well, put the poster back up. 89.5. We definitely think this is worth a watch.
Yes.
I am gonna throw a special nod to Lee Jun Lee, who plays the Asian lady in this movie. I think her performance in here is spectacular.
Yes.
And I just want to throw one picture up because I was like, yeah, I really liked her in this movie. She was amazing. And she didn't have much of a role, but she's kind of sprinkled. She's sprinkled all throughout the movie.
She made the most of what she got.
Exactly. She's very underrated in the movie. And I wouldn't have been disappointed if she got a supporting actress knob.
I ain't gonna lie. I think After seeing this, she should have.
Yeah, she was really good, and like I said,
Hmm.
she had kind of a pivotal role in the
Hmm.
entire movie. She was involved in just about everything, and everybody respected her
Yeah.
and feared her a little bit, but it was just really weird because you see her, like, she's all the way through the movie, but she's in, like, little pieces here and there, but
Yeah.
I don't know, she commanded my attention when she showed up and did that first thing, and I was like, "Who is
My
that?"
favorite scene with her is it's not a very pivotal scene at all.
Yeah.
It's when she's in the dry cleaners. It was a dry cleaners, right? And somebody recognized her, and she signed a photo.
Oh, right, well, I think her family owns a laundry or something like
Yeah.
that,
Yes.
and it was, it was like, and it's not really much of a spoiler, you guys, because it's not really a pivotal part of the movie. It's just this scene kind of to establish her,
Yeah. And I like that.
where the customer is complaining and having a problem, and they're like, she just comes down and, like,
Yeah. That's
stops everything, and he's like, "Aren't you?" And she goes, "Yeah," and then she signs an autograph picture,
fine.
and everything's correct. Everything's righted because of it. So I I yeah, I dug that scene. I completely agree
Me
with
too.
that.
Me too. Again, guys,
Yeah,
if you have
yeah. Spicy's like, "Oh yeah, the singer, yeah." But
if you guys have 3 hours to kill, it's on Paramount Plus. Give it a watch, and maybe watch the first 5 minutes. Fast forward 20 minutes to get past the.
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe a little bit longer. So get through that first scene,
Yeah.
and then once the party gets started, kind of get a little, you kind of establish what's going on, and then yeah, you could probably fast forward through most of that.
Yeah, maybe it's 20 minutes, if that. 20.
Yeah. But it's just, yeah, it's just a lot of drugs and sex and crap
Yeah.
and junk and stuff that, yeah,
Pete.
I don't like movies that glorify drug use, and this kind
Yeah.
of did at the beginning, but it kind of stopped and went more like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say more like Blonde, but it kind of went more like Blonde in the way that Margot Robbie's character
Yeah.
developed over the course
Margot
of the movie.
Robbie's fantastic in this.
Yeah,
She's great.
she did an amazing job.
Definitely check it out on Paramount Plus. When does the
Yeah,
physical release come out?
that's a very good question.
Is it next week? So I know there's a
I
steel
think
book
it's
for
I
it.
think it's pretty soon. Yeah. Yeah, 21st.
Oh, so a couple more weeks.
So a couple more weeks. 3 more weeks.
I think they want a lot for that steel book too.
Yeah.
It's a
I think it's
big,
like 40 something, right?
yeah, something like that. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, no, I'm fine.
So what's the next step, my friends? Can we get the pile of shit out of the way? Let's do that.
Let's do that. I agree with that. Oh, yeah. So mid to late March, Spicy says it's 38.99. Yeah, it was about
Oh,
$40.
yeah, that's too
Um,
much.
I'm like, well, yeah, but I think steel books are going for that now. I'm like, what happened to the
34.
34.99, and
And yeah,
I don't know. I guess I don't
we're
need all
grumpy
the
old men.
cards and crap in it to make it more expensive.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but thanks, Spicy, for putting that up.
Yeah, we
All
appreciate
right.
it.
Oh yeah, let's grab the other elephant in the room.
There's something wrong with this movie.
There's something wrong with this movie. That's the name I want to change it to. There's something wrong with this movie.
Yeah,
It's called There's Something Wrong with the Children.
I had higher hopes since it was a Bloomhouse production.
And I did like the trailer. I was
I
I
did
was
too.
interested in the trailer.
That's why I
But
suggested it.
unfortunately, the trailer was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, it was not
Um,
good.
uh gosh, I think I even kind of liked how it started. I don't know what it was about this movie, but like it was trying to be too many different types of horror movie,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
it really didn't need to do that.
It
It
and
was
the
trying it
acting
was
sucked.
trying to be psychological horror, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, I'm kinda buying that." And then it pulls a complete 180, and, and I'm like, "Okay, is it paranormal? Is it a monster movie? I don't understand what's going on. Is it a possession film? Is it?" I you know, the whole second half of the movie is like they had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah, they're just throwing shit in the wall and see what
Yeah,
stuck.
they were just spaghettiing it. It was just,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
but I mean, there were things that I was like, "Okay, okay, I kinda dug that," and then they would completely change. It would completely go off of it and
Yeah.
do something else. And I don't know, but the worst part about this one for me was the ending.
Oh, yeah. You're like,
I
"That's lazy."
I hate yeah, you just gave up
Mhm.
on the ending,
Yeah. This
and I was just like, "Really? I mean, come on."
I'm glad I only paid $7.99 for this.
Yeah, I'm glad you were the one that had to pay for it. I
Yeah.
did I was like, "Man, I almost was gonna buy this on physical, and I'm so glad you got it because now I'm not
Right?
gonna buy it." Because I like Blumhouse.
I do too. For the most part, I like all their
I'm a
stuff.
fan, and like I said, the trailer for the movie, I think I gave it an 8.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I give it
Yeah,
an
we
8.
both gave it an 8,
Yeah.
and, yeah, that's the highest score we gave the movie. Other than that, there's nothing higher than a 6.
Yeah. It's,
Um,
and I
but
expected more from the guy that played Matt Saracen in Friday Night Lights. I like him as an actor, but oh my goodness, in this he was terrible.
yeah, I don't know, I don't think the acting was very good at all. I mean,
It's, it,
we still both gave it a 6, but I think the best actors in the movie were probably the kids.
I agree. That's why I gave it a 6.
Yeah.
They were creepy.
Yeah, the kids were creepy, and
Yeah.
I was just like, and it was, just to give you an idea, I
Hmm.
dug how creepy the kids were, and I liked how it was going, but then, yeah, they just get completely pulled a 180 and went somewhere else, and I was like, "What happened?
Yeah.
Why is it now this type of horror movie?" And then they just gave up on that too fast and went to something else,
Hmm.
and it was I don't know. It was like,
Guys,
yeah,
just avoid this one. Do not watch it. Don't
yeah,
waste
I
your
mean,
time.
I'm not gonna call it a complete turd, but I won't recommend it. It's
Yeah, I wouldn't
not
either.
I
If it
there were
shows up on Netflix for free or any of the streaming services you guys pay for, watch
yeah,
it then. Don't go out
yeah.
of your way to buy it.
Don't go out of your way to
Or
pay for it on Vudu or
yeah,
buy the physical copy. But yeah, this is one of those ones where, yeah, if you've got a free service and it's on there, sure.
yeah.
And you're hard up for a horror movie, check it out. Um,
If you're hard up
I
for a horror movie and you need to rent something, go get
I was
Scream
like,
TV.
go get sick on Peacock.
Oh yeah, that or just grab that money you're gonna rent. There's Shutter. There's what's Spirits of Spirits on
Oh, Spirits of Spirits is on Scare Network TV.
Scare Network TV. Spend $5 there. Go there and get all kinds
Yeah,
of
and you get the
scary
classic
shit.
horror movies, Night of the Living Dead, Dementia
Hmm.
13, thrillers, true crime, paranormal documentaries. It's a
Hmm.
great service.
Yeah, do that instead of renting this.
So yeah, scarenetwork.tv, and you can subscribe to it. And
Yeah,
the Spirits with Spirits podcast, which is I host that, where we talk about paranormal and we drink alcohol.
that shit
And
can get freaky sometimes, man.
oh
Like
yeah, we get crazy.
like that time I popped in the chat and my name was said.
Yeah, your name was said like 4 or 5 times during the show.
Yeah,
Um, so Spicy, I think you're talking about There's Something Wrong with the Children. This is right now watchable on Vudu, and you can also rent it on Amazon Prime for six ninety
but
nine.
don't.
But I would say no, just wait for like a free streaming service, like a
Mhm.
streaming service that you have to offer it for free, which I think will happen soon.
Yeah,
Um,
I might end up on free on Vudu because they have them free movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I might do like a free with ads or something like that.
Mhm. So what did IMDb give it?
Oh, IMDb. This is interesting. IMDb gave this a 4.9. Rotten Tomatoes critics score 61%.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Audience score 23%.
Okay, that's more about that's.
That's more like it, right?
Mhm.
So after all that, when we reviewed it, you gave it a 56. I gave it a 52. So total average score 54.
That's about right.
And yes, I would recommend Sick over this.
But Sick is a nice little slasher movie, man.
I thought Sick was kind of cool in its own right. I mean, the
Mhm.
story is really simple and it didn't, it was pretty predictable, but I
I
like the
like how they
kill.
use the C word
Yeah. Yeah.
um, in that. This is the plot device.
Yeah. But yeah, and because that hasn't happened.
Mm-mm.
And I'm like, it's right there. It's ripe for the picking, but people are so worried about
Yeah.
they don't want to watch a movie that's based on that.
Go watch it though. It's a nice little slasher movie.
Yeah.
Very Scream-esque, but still fun.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on. What do we have?
We got the turd out of the way.
We got that one out of the way. So and we're on the horror movies. So let's go ahead and talk about Viking Wolf.
You know what? I am glad you recommended this because I enjoyed this movie. I didn't think I was going to. I'm glad you picked it because I ended up liking it.
Yeah, me too. And it's really funny. And getting back to Spirits with Spirits. So we were, on the Spirits with Spirits podcast, we talk about cryptids and
Mhm.
we're talking about haunted locations. And then the alternating week, we talk about cryptids. We talked about cryptids and we talked about something called the adlet. And the adlet is like a half man, half dog, kind of like a werewolf type of thing that went to Scandinavia because it was like in Alaska and Greenland area, and then was sent on a boat to Scandinavia, and in Scandinavia it kind of mated with the people in that region and became werewolves down there. And that's kind of how the whole legend of the werewolf is supposedly how it started, is with the adlet.
Mhm.
That's what this movie reminded me of. When
Yeah.
I watched it, the whole legend of it and the way that they did it, I was like, "Oh crap, this reminds me of that thing that we did on Spiritual Spirit." So
They even
it was
talk about
really
the
cool to watch
beginning
from.
of the credit scenes, the opening credits,
Yeah,
don't they?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So I was like, "Oh, cool." It was really neat to kind of do that, and we just talked about that like the week before on
mhm.
our podcast. So it was a really cool transition for me to go to watch this, and it was like right after it came out. I think it came out February 3rd on Netflix.
Yeah, this is a Netflix movie. If you
Yeah.
guys did.
This is on Netflix and it's Norwegian, so when when you watch it, it's automatically dubbed. It's worth it to go ahead and switch it to the original language
Mhm.
and watch it. I watched both. I watched it dubbed first and then I watched it in subtitles, and I liked it better in subtitled. Generally, that's the thing. You get the acting better and
Yeah,
stuff like that. But I don't know. I dug this. This
I
was
did
this was
too.
a lot of
And the
fun.
special effects in it were pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't have to roll my eyes. I was
Right.
like, this was. I enjoyed this.
Right. So your favorite part was the story. What did you like about the story? You gave that a 9.
I liked that. Well, I don't want. I don't. I don't want to spoil it. The police chief's daughter. She was a
Yeah.
police chief, wasn't she? Was she a
Yeah.
police chief?
Yeah.
I
Police
liked.
chief or sheriff or whatever, the constable or
I won't say she was like the daughter was picked on, but I liked her story, the journey of when she realized what was going to happen, what's happening to her. You know, she's slowly turning into that wolf. I liked that. I like. I ain't gonna lie, I chuckled when they're hunting the other one in the was it the caves, and they're outside with their guns. They're running towards it,
Yeah.
and that made I liked that part. That made me chuckle. And I really dug the creepy old guy.
Yeah.
And there's something about I don't know who he was because this was a foreign film. I didn't know anybody in it.
Yeah.
Um,
No, yeah, I didn't recognize anybody in the cast.
yeah, there's a lot of aspects of this film that just it
But
wasn't
yeah,
bad at all for a Netflix film.
by looking at it, this is a werewolf movie.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it's it's spreading like a virus, so other people are getting it. And yeah,
Through
this old guy
bites.
shows up who's like this ancient Van Helsing type dude that's been hunting werewolves
Who's missing
forever.
an arm, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like missing half an arm and trying to tell him werewolves are real. You got to believe me. And he's all looking like he's,
Mm-hmm.
fresh off the homeless truck. And it was just kind of like, it was like, okay, dude, whatever, crazy guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then all hell breaks loose. But I dug the CGI
I
on
did
the
too.
werewolf. I dug the transformation scene. And that's kind of
Yeah.
that's my marker for a good werewolf movie is I want to see a good transformation scene.
When she's on the bus, I
Yeah,
really like.
that was the one that
Uh-huh.
I liked.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you get some really good acting, and I want to point out
Yeah.
this is the mom, and she turns and there's like this werewolf right there
Interface.
in her
Yeah.
face, and her eyes, because you don't see the werewolf yet, but you see her turn and her eyes just super wide.
Yeah.
And you guys like maximize that screen and zoom in, and you can see that because you can see the
Mm-hmm.
surprise and the fear on her face.
This is
Uh,
a again. I don't know what kind of budget it had
yeah,
for wherever this movie was from. I
yeah.
wonder if it was like a higher end movie from where Netflix bought it from. Because it feels like a high end movie. It doesn't feel like a Sharknado. It doesn't feel like an alligator.
No, it feels like they put some stuff in there. So it is
Mhm.
it is Norwegian.
Yeah.
It's a Norwegian movie. Um, and it did make what did I have? It made 57.7 thousand globally in the box office. So it was released somewhere.
It has to be over there. There's no way this was released here.
Yeah, I didn't have a budget on it. Um, but yeah, just some of the effects.
Yeah, that looks great.
I was like, dude,
Yeah. I was
I
I
was-
was happy that you picked this.
yeah. No, me too. I was like, because we were talking about movies to pick, and I was like, hey, I just watched, you said I watched this movie, and I was like, okay, let's put this one in. And I was like, hey, have you seen this? And you took a look at it, was like, yeah, let's watch that. And then so we did
Yeah.
that one. But yeah, I was glad I picked it too. It was just kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, it was the trailer that did it for me because I was like, oh, it reminds me of the podcast and what we did. So I actually gave the plot or the trailer a 9.
See, I would have never watched it because I would have, if I seen it on Netflix, I probably would have just went right past it, expecting it to be Netflix junk.
Yeah.
Because I ain't gonna lie, Netflix, 8 out of 10 times,
That
stuff like that.
Netflix puts out some clunkers. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's really hard. It's really hard to tell. Hey, we got Steve on. What's up, Steve?
Well, thanks, Steve, for joining us tonight.
Um, so yeah, it's kind of one of those ones where you get kind of jaded with Netflix where you're like, I
Hmm.
don't know if it's straight to Netflix unless it's Glass Onion or something. I don't know if I want to watch it.
But you
But
picked another one too that was from Netflix that I had a great time watching.
yeah,
So Netflix and this week they're 2 for 2.
good. Good, I'm glad. Because yeah, I liked them a lot too. and I'm glad you got to see him and you liked
Yeah.
him.
Again, that's another one I would have never watched.
Yeah. Yeah, that one caught me by surprise. Yeah. I hope you get a chance to check it out,
Yeah, I
Spicy.
do.
'Cause, yeah, it was a fun watch.
If you
So yeah,
do watch it sometime next week, come back next week and tell us what you thought.
yeah. So IMDb gave this a 5.1, which I think is pretty low.
I agree.
I deserved a better score than that. But as a general rule, IMDb does not score horror movies very well.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes, kind of the same boat. They gave the critic score on this is 50 and the audience score is 39. So,
What?
yeah. Again, I was really surprised, but I don't think a lot of people have reviewed it. So I think this deserves more love.
Yeah, I
Needs
do.
to come
I
in.
agree.
So you and I both gave this movie a 74.
And I think that's a great score for this movie.
Yeah. I think it's well deserving. It's exactly what I wanted.
It's not reinventing the wheel.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not reinventing the wheel. There's not anything really unique about it except for the whole legend that you get,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of cool. I mean, it was really cool for me.
In the setting too. I like the setting.
And yeah, I like the whole Norway thing, and I like I
That's where
dug it, but
was
it
it
was
Troll
the
set in that
Troll.
area too, and I liked
Yeah,
that too.
yeah, I like Troll. The special effects in Troll were really good too. It's got to be something in the water up there,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I dug it. So yeah, Viking Wolf gets 74. And since you were talking about the other Netflix movie, let's talk about that. So let's talk about Lou.
This was fun. I dug this.
This was, man, I did not expect this from Allison Janney. And mainly because I mean Allison Janney is rapidly becoming one of my favorite actresses.
I enjoy her. I don't know her. I wouldn't know her name if I saw her.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I remember her from I, Tonya because she won the best supporting actress for I, Tonya, or at least was nominated. I think she won.
I don't remember.
But and then I saw her in To Leslie, and I was like, man, she deserved an Oscar nomination for that too. She was really good.
She was fantastic. She was a bitch in To Leslie.
She was such a bitch. I loved her.
Yeah.
Reminded me of my stepmom. But this movie kind of takes her out of her comfort zone because I've only seen her do drama and comedy.
Yeah, she's
Because
in
she did the
Moms.
series Mom with Anna Faris. And I really didn't like that series, but I liked her in it.
Right.
And she's a tall drink of water, let me tell you. She's a really tall girl, but to see her in this movie, and
badass.
She was a badass. She was she kicked total ass. And so this is an action thriller. And just kind of give you an idea what it's about. There's, a woman and her child. They're renting a place from Lou. Lou kind of owns the property. But Lou's got a secret. I don't want to spoil it. Lou's got something going on.
Yeah.
But also, you got a kind of a sleeping with the enemy type of thing where the husband battered the woman and then the husband died in an explosion. And so she's trying to rebuild her life with her kid. But then something happens. There's a big storm, shit's going down, and then you kind of see what's happening. You get an idea of what's going on.
And I like that reveal.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice little, I don't want to spoil it, but I'll say twist.
Yeah, I liked it. You know, it was predictable for me up until this one point where you get this, oh, holy crap. There's
Hmm.
really more to Lou than you think.
Yeah.
And not just that she's a badass, there's something else. There's another layer.
Yeah.
And but um to have her going through all this stuff and then trying to help the girl and her child, it was really cool. And all this during like this
Yeah.
massive storm. Like it's almost a hurricane going there. It's just pouring down rain.
Yeah.
And they're doing all this stuff. But it was
This is
really
a hard
cool.
movie to talk about without giving away.
Yeah, I don't want to give it
Uh,
away because that's the
yeah.
best part is getting the story,
Yeah.
is getting everything. So yeah, I don't want to let too much out of the bag.
I do like that cabin scene where she goes in, takes her hat off. She puts it on the side of
Yeah,
the other side of the cabin where no one can see it. She's playing this damsel, like damsel in distress kind of thing, and then all
yeah.
that.
Well, she kind of hobbles up to this cabin and,
Yeah.
oh hey, I'm so sorry, I'm looking for my dog.
Hmm.
Um, but they go in the cabin and I'm like, oh shit, it's Daniel Bernard um in the cabin. And he's like one of the great martial arts stunt
I didn't know who he
people,
was.
actors. Yeah. He did I think he did one of the American Ninja movies, but he was in the first John Wick movie. He was in Atomic Blonde. He's done like a bunch of these where he's kind of like one of those henchmen
Hmm.
that is a really good fighter but ends up getting killed. So so at that point I knew that there was going to be some badassery going on.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
Yeah, it was that whole thing to where it was kind of like a little chess match
It was.
where they were playing off each other and stuff. And that's where you kind of get, okay, there's something else going on with
Hmm.
Lou. It's not just, okay, she's a country girl and she knows how to protect herself.
Yeah,
No, there's something else. And
this was a great watch.
it's really good. So
I think I watched both these movies back to back
yeah,
in one night.
well, yeah, makes
I
sense
enjoyed this one.
right there. But yeah, I really like I kind of dug the cinematography. I don't think I gave it a great score,
I don't think I did either.
but I liked the what I do. Oh, I gave it a 7, you gave it an 8.
Yeah.
So, and that's really good for Netflix.
Oh yeah.
So let's see, your high points were, well, you're pretty much 8s across the board.
Yeah, I really liked
8
this.
8 for acting, ending, story, cinematography, direction, and the wild card, which is an action thriller. And I had 2 real good high points. I gave a 9 to the story because I really liked how the story panned out, and a 9 to the wild card because I liked the action in it. I liked the suspense. There was some really good intensity. And then 8s for like the plot because I really liked the trailer, the ending because I liked how the ending happened, and the script. I liked the script too.
Yeah.
This was a solid movie for me for Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, the action was great. The acting was pretty much good.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, this was a very good watch.
yeah. This was fun. I enjoyed this a lot, and my wife was watching it, and I was like, I walked by and I'm like, "What are you watching?" So I sat there with her for like 10 minutes and I watched it, and I was like, "I got to see this movie from the beginning." So I left, and that's when I was kind of recommending it to her. I said, "Hey, we should watch Lou and put this in our thing,"
Yeah,
because I'm like, my wife watched part of it, and I really liked what I watched, so I want to see the whole thing.
yeah.
But yeah, I just, you know, you got those movies like Enough and Sleeping with the Enemy and
Hmm.
Safe Haven and stuff like that, where that's abusive husband and the wife runs away and all this kind of stuff, and then something happens. So yeah,
And
so
if
that
something
part's pretty
happens,
predictable.
it happens in all these movies, and it's the
Yeah.
same thing.
So that pretty much was on track. What left the track was, like I said, that layer, that twist,
Mm-hmm.
to where you're like, oh crap.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and that just, I don't know, that really hooked me. So that's what I really liked about the story, was that hook right there
Yeah, it
that
was
you
good.
don't really get until you're like most of the way through, at least
It's like
halfway,
three-fourths of the
three-quarters of the
way.
way. Yeah. To where you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh crap. There's so much I didn't know that all of a sudden came to the surface. And I'm like, shit. But I really liked Allison Janney did a really good job of acting here too.
Oh, she did a good job.
Um, so yeah, I'm really starting to like her as an actress, just a straight up actress.
See, I think if this came to physical release and I found it cheap, I would definitely add this to my collection.
Oh yeah, I'll get a physical copy of this if I can,
Mm-hmm.
if it ever comes out.
Yeah, this was a great movie.
Yeah,
And it's
I
on
would
Netflix,
totally
Scott.
watch this again. Um, all right, so
We got one
let's take
movie
a look.
left.
So IMDb gave this a 6.1. Rotten Tomatoes critic score 68 and audience score 62. I found out that globally it made 43.7 thousand in the box office, so it was really somewhere. I couldn't get a budget on it.
Hmm.
You gave this movie a 69. Yep. And I gave it a 75. So a total average score of 72.
That's a great score
Yeah.
for a
I,
Netflix movie.
for a Netflix movie. I mean,
Mhm.
we gave Viking Wolf a higher score, and I think it was deserving of that. But
Mhm.
Lou is definitely one to take a
Yeah,
look at and watch. So you guys, if you get a chance, Lou is on
do.
Netflix, available right now.
And it's not a long movie either.
It isn't. No, it's an hour and a
Yeah.
half. It's it's quick. It's really good pace.
It's the point.
Yeah.
It's not no Babylon length.
No, it is not Babylon. It is not a marathon. It's a sprint.
Uh,
Um. All right. I think we've got one more left, brother.
yeah, we do.
Okay. So let's get into this one because I have some issues with this one.
You do?
So we watched Emancipation.
I'm just gonna put it out there. I really liked this movie.
Yeah, I I liked it, but I didn't love it. And so first off, um, I got to tell you that this movie does not deserve the hate that it
No.
got.
And I think that
Yeah,
hate comes from Will Smith.
that hate comes from Will Smith, and I was going to ask you that question. I think people hated on this movie because of Will Smith, because of his issue that
Mhm.
happened at the last Oscars.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I
I
could
think
see this. When you see the scores that are given for this thing from IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, you got to go. There's no freaking way. It has to be. It has to be because of the personal feelings toward Will Smith,
mhm.
and I see that. But um, we'll tell you. It says it's inspired by true events, and I know about this story, and the only event that this is based on is the picture.
Yeah.
And I'll throw it to this. So it's actually the one where his back's to the camera. So the story of the Civil War is they took a picture of this guy. They only knew him as Peter, and he just had whip marks across the back, and it became like the catalyst for the Civil War, for freeing the slaves and doing all that. Um, but they didn't know anything about him because basically
Mhm.
he showed up. He said his name was Peter, where he ran from. They saw the marks on his back. They took his picture, and he became like the poster boy for the
Mhm.
Civil War. And then he was gone. Peter disappeared,
Yeah.
presumably to go and find his family. So Antoine Fuqua and whoever wrote this thing created this entire movie, this feature film, basically about a picture
Yeah.
and what little they knew about that slave who was in the picture. But I have never seen a I'm gonna call it. This seemed like a one-man army movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Centered around a slave in the Civil War.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
And I thought that was kind of refreshing. That was actually kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually it's just the slave runs and hides and gets away to where he's free. But I will say this about Will Smith's character: he stood up for himself. He
Mm-hmm.
fought back, and that was part of the reason why he was beaten so much as a slave. And that's the kind of the story that they tell. Not to spoil it for you guys, but if you get a chance, this is worth a watch.
Oh yeah. I hope
Um,
this probably won't get a release, but if it
no,
does, I'll jump all over it
I'll get it. I'll get a physical release of this.
because the
Um,
cinematography in this was beautiful. I
yeah.
love the look of it. Oh man, and this black and
So,
white with just a
yeah, I
hint
was
of.
gonna say the look of it was almost black and white, just a
Mm-hmm.
just a hint of color
Mm-hmm.
in
It looked amazing in 4K.
it. Yeah, it was nice. I got to tell you, I had some issues with Apple TV Plus because it was the first movie I watched, and it kept buffering and having trouble loading, and it was kind of frustrating. Um, but I really enjoyed the movie, and on top of that, it is not that long.
Mm-mm.
It's just a hair over 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
2:12, I think. Um, and I gotta tell you, normally I don't really like those movies. Like I know 12 Years a Slave was this epic movie. I didn't really care for it, and I was expecting Emancipation to be like that. Um, and the first half hour it was. So
Mm-hmm.
the first half hour of this movie, I was not having it. I
Yeah.
wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't entertained. But once he escaped and once all this stuff was happening, and you kind of get to know Peter
Yeah.
as a survivalist, then I was enjoying. And then I liked the movie, and I really like Ben Foster in this. I think
Oh, he's such an
I think
asshole.
he is an amazing actor.
Yeah.
He totally overshadows anybody he's up against
Mm-hmm.
when he's acting.
Yeah.
But he absolutely kills it in every movie he does, and it's no different here. He was
Mm-hmm.
spectacularly an asshole
Oh, he plays an asshole
in
perfectly.
this movie, but with respect, because it wasn't like he and I the only way I could put it is he wasn't he wasn't of the belief that the slaves were lesser people, which is how they're kind of portrayed in some movies. But he kind of had a grasshopper to ant mentality
Mm-hmm.
where he says, if we allow them to rise against us, they're going to take us over.
Yeah.
So because they are that type of people, so we need to keep them beaten down in order to remain in that authoritative state. Um, and I rarely have I seen a movie about slavery or about the Civil War actually say it like that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was my favorite part.
I think my favorite part of the movie, it's just one scene. Um, and it's powerful when he's hiding in the tree. And that other dude's up in the tree. He's up in the tree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
they bring him down, and then Ben Foster's all over him. And you just see the look of pure terror on Will Smith's face.
Mhm.
You're like, please don't give me up. Please don't give me up. Please don't give me up. And the dude dies.
Yeah.
He doesn't give him up.
Yeah.
It just, God, Will Smith is such a good actor. I know what he did was wrong. Um, he should face some sort of punishment for what he did. But his acting ability is so off the charts in this movie. I think Hollywood media need to forgive because we've forgiven people who's done far worse. You've given rapists more forgiveness than you've given Will Smith.
Yeah.
That's just my take.
Yeah, he he slapped Chris Rock.
In a moment of weakness. Every man has had a moment of weakness some point in their life,
Yeah,
whether it's an act of
you
violence,
know,
whether
and
it's
and
use
I'm
words.
sorry, Chris Rock has already forgiven him.
Yeah,
So what are we doing?
yeah. He's
I'm
human.
sorry, it
Just
has nothing
because
to do with
he's
us.
makes millions of dollars, we see
Yeah,
him on the big screen. He's still a man that
yeah,
has mental health issues. We've all had mental health issues.
yeah,
A celebrities ain't immune to that.
yeah,
Just look at Ezra Miller. No,
yeah. No, I completely agree with that. I mean, and regardless of how you view that actor as a person, there's no denying his ability on
yeah,
camera. I mean, it's like Mel Gibson or Tom Cruise or
yep,
those guys to where you're like, okay, I may not like that person as a human being, but as an actor, whew,
yeah,
and that's what I'm here for.
yep,
I was there for Will Smith, the actor. I wasn't there for the person who slapped Chris Rock. I don't.
yeah,
That has nothing to do with me. I'm over it,
yeah. I was over it
and
the
real
first
and
week.
really everyone else should be over it.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I'm
but
off my soapbox now.
that's okay. But I'm glad you brought that up. I have kind of a similar view. So okay, so let's go to our scores. So your tens were, I mean, pretty much the first five. So cast, acting, plot, ending, story, and cinematography, all tens.
Yeah.
My tens were at an ending and the wild card as a drama. And then I gave nines to cinematography and acting.
No question. Did you give the cinematography a 9 because of your black and white issue?
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering if that was why you
Yeah.
did
I
that.
mean, I really liked the cinematography, but it was just a hair. It was, I have issues with black and white.
Hmm.
I don't care for it. Um, and I don't think he was trying too hard though with it. There are some movies where it's black and white because they're trying too hard to be artistic,
Yeah,
but that wasn't the case. Antoine Fuqua, he was trying to be in the period.
yeah.
Is kind of what I got. He was trying to be in the
Yeah.
1860s, and like I said, the whole thing was gray, like gray all the way through, and just hints of color here and
Yeah.
there.
He did Training Day, right?
I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's the
Uh,
one doing the Michael Jackson biopic.
yeah.
Yeah. I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a look at it. So the budget on this was 120 million. Of course, it was just released to Apple TV
Yeah.
Plus. IMDb gave this a 6.1. Rotten Tomato critics score 46%. Audience score 55%. Like I said, I think this is about personal hate than it
Hmm.
is about acting ability or the movie itself. Um, you gave this movie a 91, and I gave it an 81. So total average score of 86.
Good score. That's the highest score of the week, right?
No, Babylon won the highest
Oh,
score of the week.
I loved this movie. I think I'm not gonna lie, man. There's parts where I teared up just because, you see what Will Smith was going through.
Yeah. No, it got me at the end. I
Uh-huh.
really with the whole, searching for his family and doing all that
Hmm.
kind of stuff, the whole thing at the end, that got me teared up. So I really like the ending.
Yeah, I need to. And there's that moment where he's on his knees and Ben Foster's got his gun on him,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh fuck, you know. That was tough to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's one point I ain't gonna lie, the sci-fi in me when he's in the when he finds that makeshift cabin thing or the boat. I was hoping like a skunk ape was gonna come through there.
Little Bigfoot action.
Yeah. Hmm. Then he
Oh, that'd
sees
be
it.
funny. That'd be funny. Or just have it in the background. Not
Yeah.
even acknowledge it in the movie. Just have a
Mm-hmm.
little skunk ape or some Bigfoot action in the background. That
That'd
would have
be
been
cool.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I would have lost my shit.
Me too.
Okay. So yeah, so let's recap. So our winner this week was Babylon with an 89.5, and then followed by Emancipation with an 86.
See both those movies, guys.
Yep. Viking Wolf with a 74, and then Lou with a 72. And bringing up the rear, there's something wrong with this movie with a 54. But that's it. I think we're done, brother.
Yeah. Do you want to tell them what the movies are next week?
Yeah, let's do that. So next week, and I think we're gonna stay. I think we're gonna stay on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I like Wednesdays.
Yeah.
It works.
So next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, we're gonna look at Empire of Light, Sharper on Apple TV Plus, Cocaine
Empire
Bear,
Lights
which is
on
in the theater now.
HBO Max.
What's that?
Empire
of
Lights.
Light is on HBO Max. That's right. Empire of Light on HBO Max, Sharper on Apple TV Plus, Cocaine Bear, which is in theaters now, Spoiler Alert, which is on Peacock, and Puss in Boots, which is about to be on Peacock, right?
Yeah, it should be there sometime this week or next week.
But yeah, Puss in Boots just came out on physical release this
Mhm.
week. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at those next week. And then that's it. I think we're out of here, brother.
Yeah. Again, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for taking an hour or so out of your day, your evening, and spending it with us, two knuckleheads, talking movies, because that's what we love to do. So I thank you for that.
Yep. Harrison's been wanting to see Puss in Boots.
I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I haven't seen it yet. We'll definitely talk about it next week. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I like our time this week.
Me too.
We're a little bit over an hour. That's awesome. So you guys feel free to check this out on Spotify. It should be available tomorrow, or iHeartRadio or Amazon Music. And then, check out our past episodes on Spotify, because Anchor sponsors us to take the audio portion of this broadcast and put it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music for free. So definitely check that out. I also want to throw a special shout out to StreamYard. StreamYard takes our live cast and puts it on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Not for free. I'm paying for it, but it is worth it. It's a really cool service.
They do a good
But
job.
they do have a free system that you can use where you can actually put it on one
that's the one I use.
social media channel.
I use the free one.
Yeah, so it's definitely worth it just for the free one, and a lot of people use that. I really appreciate it, and if you guys get a chance, check out scarenetwork.tv and subscribe there. Check out the Spirits of Spirits podcast, which runs once a week, and we've got 7 or 8 episodes on there now. So hopefully you guys can check that out. I think we're out of here, brother.
Yeah, man. Talk to you guys later.
All right, you guys be safe, take care, and we'll see you next week.
See you.